Less than 48 hours after the left claimed that this man, Pete Hegseth, was sharing top secret information, top secret war plans in a group chat with a reporter from The Atlantic, they are already backtracking and they already have egg on their face. Another day, another liberal media hoax that holds no weight whatsoever. We're going to get into it. We need to expose this for the propaganda that it is. But before we do, my name is Clayton Kearns from TrendingPolitics.com. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel and quickly like this video. It helps us out so much in the YouTube algorithm, and it helps get the truth out there to the masses. The more you engage, the more you interact, the more you subscribe, you like, it helps this information get out there, because the media is still gunning for President Trump. They are still gunning for Pete Hegseth and everything that we hold dear. So please help us in this journey. Thank you so much. So as I said, right off the top, the other day, The Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg said, hey, we got added to some top secret war plans. And now in a piece published today, they are already backtracking. And they say, here are the attack plans that Trump advisors shared on Signal. And Caroline Leavitt says, The Atlantic has conceded. These were not war plans. This entire story was another hoax written by a Trump hater who is well known for his sensationalist spin. Pete Hegseth wrote this. So let me get this straight. The Atlantic released so-called war plans, and those plans included no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. Those are some pretty crappy war plans. This only proves one thing. Jeffrey Goldberg has never seen a war plan or an attack plan, as he now calls it. Not even close. As I type this, my team and I are traveling to Indo-PACOM region, meeting with commanders, the guy who makes real war plans, and talking to troops. We will continue to do our job while the media does what it does best, peddle hoaxes. So, once again we ask, what is the fact that no classified information was shared, is that really dangerous whatsoever? No names, no targets, no locations, no units, no plans that could be compromised in any way, no plans that could release to any person. And by the way, the American people already knew that this was coming down. As Sean Parnell says, just what we said, no targets, no routes, no classified information. Just another hoax by The Atlantic foisted on the American people, meant to undermine Secretary of Defense Hegseth's leadership and President Trump's national security agenda. It won't work. And just moments ago, Caroline Leavitt dropped the hammer on the media in the press briefing room. You need to see this. Every second of this, it is glorious.
We are not going to bend in the face of this insincere outrage. And here's just one example of how bad faith the Democrats' criticisms are. Democrat Senator Mark Warner is hysterical over the use of Signal, which is an approved encrypted app, in the killing of Houthi terrorists. But Senator Warner himself used Signal to work with a lobbyist for a Russian oligarch to connect the disgraced Steele dossier author who started the Russia hoax, which Jeffrey Goldberg later reported on. How ironic. We're not going to lose focus of the bottom line, which is that Joe Biden's weakness enabled and emboldened Houthi terrorists, and President Trump's strength and resolve eliminated those terrorists. Here in our new media seat today.
So there you have it. Isn't that ironic? The very app that the Democrats are criticizing, they've used themselves with other hoaxes, with the Russia hoax, to communicate with Christopher Steele. How does that make any sense whatsoever? Greg Price makes a great point here, says none of these people, so he's basically sharing a bunch of images of all these Democrats calling for Pete Hegseth to resign. He needs to resign in disgrace immediately. Pete Hegseth must resign or be fired immediately. Chris Murphy says Secretary Hegseth needs to resign. If there is zero accountability for this level of incompetence, if there are no repercussions when our top national security leaders are caught lying to the American public, our nation's credibility is destroyed. And Greg Price says, none of these people called on anyone to resign when 13 Americans were killed in Afghanistan. nor when they responded to it by droning 8 children who they claimed were ISIS. But they demand Pete Hegseth resign after a successful mission that killed Houthi terrorists. Make it make sense, please. This is from today in hearing as well. Just very forward, Tulsi Gabbard straight up saying that none of these locations or classified top secret information, so to speak, was disclosed.
Director Gabbard, was the target terrorist named in the text, or was it simply referred to as target terrorist?
The target was not named.
Thank you. Was the location named?
Congressman, no locations were named.
Thank you.
Seems like a pretty open, shut case to me. So here's another great video I want you to take a look at.
So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was Signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of Signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
So the left is freaking out over an encrypted app when Hillary Clinton had hundreds of thousands of emails with classified and, as James Comey said, top secret information in them. And she tried to cover her tracks. People have been prosecuted for far less than anything that Hillary Clinton did. And they are somehow trying to get Pete Hegseth out of the administration because of this, where no classified information was shared, where no locations, no details were shared. Sean Davis posted, "I like how Jeffrey Goldberg went from saying he couldn't possibly share the text because they would destroy national security to publishing them like 5 seconds later. These people are so unserious," he says. Here was a hilarious little back and forth with Trump here, because in one of the exchanges, Pete Hegseth and Vance were saying that Europe was freeloading, and they asked Trump about it, and he gave the classic Trumpian answer.
The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, the Vice President, said that the Europeans were freeloading. Do you agree with that assessment?
Do you really want me to answer that? Yeah, I think they've been freeloading. The European Union's been absolutely terrible to us on trade. Terrible.
This man holds absolutely nothing back. And one of the other nail in the coffins for this story is that the rapid response team for Trump went back to 2017 and found out that The Atlantic called Signal the gold standard of encrypted messaging and admitted it was used by Obama and Clinton staffers. They say Confide isn't the first secure communications app to find popularity among politicians and their aides. Signal, the gold standard of encrypted messaging and calling, is used by staffers who work for President Trump, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, New York Governor Cuomo, and New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. So, years ago, Signal was the gold standard for encrypted messaging. Totally safe. But now that they want to use it to spin their narrative, it's suddenly the most unsafe platform that anyone has ever had. And then finally, I want to wrap this video up by just sharing with you Tulsi Gabbard's full comments on the situation. I feel like it's important to get this out there. She attacked it with class, and you need to watch this.
I want to address briefly the Signal chat issue that I know many of you are concerned about. The President and National Security Advisor Waltz held a press conference yesterday with a clear message. It was a mistake that a reporter was inadvertently added to a Signal chat with high-level national security principals having a policy discussion about imminent strikes against the Houthis and the effects of the strike. National Security Advisor has taken full responsibility for this, and the National Security Council is conducting an in-depth review along with technical experts working to determine how this reporter was inadvertently added to this chat. The conversation was candid and sensitive, but as the President and National Security Advisor stated, no classified information was shared. There were no sources, methods, locations, or war plans that were shared. This was a standard update to the National Security Cabinet that was provided alongside updates that were given to foreign partners in the region. The Signal Message app comes pre-installed on government devices. In December of 2024, CISA stated, quote, "We strongly urge highly targeted individuals to immediately review and apply best practices provided in the guidance to protect mobile communications, including consistent use of end-to-end encryption." And they named Signal as an app, as an example of such an end-to-end encrypted messaging app. Ideally, these conversations occur in person. However, at times, fast-moving coordination of an unclassified nature is necessary, where in-person conversation is not an option. I'm also aware that a lawsuit was filed yesterday on this issue. As a result of that pending litigation, I'm limited in my ability to comment further on that specific case. My Office of General Counsel will be in close contact with the Department of Justice on this matter. The most important thing to the American people and to all of us is the success of this military operation against terrorists who have been and continue to attack American service members was extremely successful, thanks to the leadership of President Trump and the actions of our brave men and women in uniform. As the heads of the American people's intelligence community, we will continue to provide the President, you in Congress, and our warfighters with timely, unbiased, relevant intelligence to keep our country secure, free, prosperous, and at peace. All
right, so there you have it, everyone. We conducted a successful operation that killed terrorists, and quite frankly, I feel like Democrats are just mad about it. Joe Biden gets 13 Americans killed. They don't blink an eye. They don't care whatsoever. They have no sympathy, no compassion for those people. When real security breakdowns happen under the Biden administration, they're just totally fine. But a reporter gets inadvertently added, which she admitted was a mistake. But there was no addresses, no classified information, no top secret information. And they lose their minds. This is the double standard that the left has, and we need to keep putting an end to this propaganda. So if you like this video, please make sure to like and share this video, and I will see you in the next one.